Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about our journey, our formula journey, and how we landed on the formula that we landed on. So a little bit of background. My twins I pumped with them. We ended up supplementing them with formula, and we chose Earth's Best Organic Gentle. We chose that because I had done a lot of research on the formula on the market in the United States. And guys, it's not the best. So I just want to preface this by saying fed is best. I formula feed. If I have more, I will formula feed. You can watch my video on why I stopped breastfeeding and why I won't do it with my next one. But so you have to make your own decision. I am not shaming you if you use Similac, Enfamil, Target brand, Kirkland brand, Walmart brand. It's fine. I don't care. It's everybody's own personal decision. And personally, we had done a lot of research and decided that a lot of the stuff, I'll say crap, that's in formula that doesn't need to be there, we figured the best that we could find through our research was the Earth's Best. So we used that with our twins and they did great. So now fast forward to Bridget, and she needs to go on formula. And we put her on the Earth's Best. She's right here. So I'll kind of come down here so you can see her. Say hi, Bridget. Say hi. Hi, sissy. Hi, sissy. So we put her on the Earth's Best. And she did fine with it the first couple weeks. And looking back, I think that is because she was on half breast milk, half formula. So we went on with the formula for a while. And then, kind of unrelated, she developed what I thought was baby acne, and we took her for her 1 month appointment. Hi, you talking? And the doctor looked and said, yeah, baby acne, like that'll go away in time, no big deal. Now she also was getting super gassy, and I noticed that she was grunting and groaning a lot, and I was kind of like, well, she's a newborn, that's normal too. It wasn't until we went to her dermatology appointment, which, she's smiling. You smiling? Which we see a dermatologist for her hemangiomas. I'll have to do a video on that. So we went to her dermatology appointment, and the dermatologist, I didn't want to bring up her skin to the dermatologist. I will see if I can find a picture of it. I didn't take a ton of pictures of it. If I can find a picture, I'll put it in. I had said to my husband that I wasn't going to mention it, that she's, a highly skilled pediatric dermatologist in Boston, and I didn't want to waste her time, even though I saw how much I paid for the visit. But I didn't want to waste her time on something that we weren't there for. But she actually mentioned to us, how long has she had that rash on her face? And I said, oh, about a week or two. And she said, what formula is she on? And I told her, and she said, okay, if it's still there when you come back in 2 weeks, we'll talk. And we left. I thought nothing of it. And as the week went on, it was probably the worst week of our life. She was 5 or 6 weeks old, and I could not put her down, which, again, my husband had read his baby app because we can't remember with the twins. And he said, oh, these are real fussy weeks. I thought she was colicky. It was awful. I was almost crying. I couldn't put her down at all. She would moan and groan with every gulp of formula. So she would swallow and go, as she's like swallowing. She was super gassy. She was spitting up all over the place and really uncomfortable, to the point that my husband went to a concert with my brother-in-law. My sister-in-law came over here to help me that night, and neither one of us could put her down all night. I actually had to get ready for bed before she left so I could take her and hold her in bed while she slept. She was miserable, and I was just thinking it was normal infant stuff. So I started doing a little research on allergies, and I talked to my husband, and the next day, my twins had spent the night at my mother-in-law's over that weekend, and we went out the next day to a farmer's market, and my husband had actually given her a bottle and saw her going with every swallow and clenching her feet up and crying. And he said, because he works during the day, and I do most of the feeding even at night, and he said, is this how she always is? And I said, yes, and it's getting worse. And he's like, no, we're not doing it. So we ran to the store. We picked up Earth's Best Sensitive. the sensitive has reduced lactose. So we gave her 1 bottle of that, and then as I'm sitting at home researching, I looked up milk protein allergy or sensitivity rashes, and her rash looked identical to that, her baby acne. And so I said to my husband, this isn't gonna work because this is reduced lactose, which isn't the same. Now, I had called the nurse, the doctor's office, and she called back and basically told me I had done everything I could. I switched, we were using Advent bottles with the twins. I switched to Dr. Brown because I thought it would help her gas. We switched to we started giving her gas drops. We started giving her a probiotic. We started burping her every ounce or half ounce. We were holding her up longer after, and the nurse was like, you're doing everything you can do. It was Friday. She said, don't switch her formula till you talk to your doctor. And I told my husband that, and he looked at me and said, no, they're not going to tell us how to switch. Now, always take your doctor's advice. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but with the twins, they were on NeoSure, and I definitely took the doctor's advice as to when I could transition them off of NeoSure to a different formula. But this time we had picked the formula, so I didn't really understand why I needed the doctor's permission to switch. So I was like, I'm not waiting for the doctor's permission, we're switching formulas. Now, fast forward to, we had tried Earth's Best Sensitive. She got 1 bottle of it, and I realized that if it was a milk protein sensitivity, and I say sensitivity because I never got her tested for it, so I don't know if it's an allergy, but if it was a milk protein sensitivity, this formula wasn't gonna work. So I had read about Holly formula from Europe, and I had done a little bit of research, and they have cow's milk and goat's milk, and I had read that goat's milk is really good for you. It's easy to digest, and if you need a hypoallergenic formula, it's a really good formula. So we rushed 2 boxes of that from Europe, which, guys, if you're interested, there's a lot of websites that are very reputable that you can get them from Europe, and it's really not that much more expensive. So we rushed that, but we needed something in the interim. So I actually ended up getting Similac Alimentum. And I'm telling you, the first bottle she took, she did not moan. It was night and day. Literally overnight, her rash cleared up. And within a day or 2, she became a much happier baby, a completely different baby. Within 7 days, my sister-in-law came back because they come over every Friday night. And she said to me, wow, she is a completely different baby. You could put her down, she would play, she would smile. She just seemed more comfortable. And I just felt like, wow, okay, she's not a colicky baby. She's not a baby I have to hold all day long because she doesn't feel good. This isn't gonna be my life, because I also have twins and I needed to be able to put her down for a few minutes under the mat or under something. And I'm telling you, totally different baby. Totally different baby. So now we are about probably 2.5 weeks from switching formulas, and they say if you do have some sort of sensitivity to something, it takes about 14 days to come out of your system. She's a totally different baby. She will sit, she will play, she will laugh, she will smile. And I know she's getting older, she's 8 weeks, but it was a night and day difference. Her skin is all clear. She just has the baby dry skin cradle cap a little bit here, but this is all clear. It's not rashy. She's not, you like that, huh? She's not rashy on her chest. She's a totally different baby. She's much happier. She takes her bottles nicer. It's crazy. And when we went back to the dermatologist and I told her what we switched to, the Holly goat's milk, she said, yep, a lot of people are switching to European formula. There's a lot of, and she looked at me and said, stuff in our formula. So she said she honestly could have been allergic to anything. So much happier baby, huh, sissy? She really only cries now if she's hungry or pooped. So now I'm gonna go to the kitchen and kind of give you guys the skinny on what I have done. So I decided to stick with the Dr. Brown's bottles. So this is one, what they look like. I decided to stick with those over the Advent just because she has been doing well with them gas-wise, and I just kind of figured the nipples are a lot smaller than the Advent one, so to keep switching back and forth, I didn't want to do that. So we're using, this one's not open right now because we're using preemie nipples. The flow is less, she takes in less air. I think in the next week or so, I'm gonna try the level 1s and just see how she does with it and go from there. And I may switch her to level 1s. Last time I tried, it was spewing out of her mouth, so we'll see. It's a little bit deceptive because in Avens, there's 0 month, 1, 2, 3, and the preemie is basically the same as the 0. But anyway, so I'm going to switch her soon to that. So this is the one that we started on, Earth's Best Organic. And I still think it's a really good formula. It does not, if you're choosing between formulas, it's a really good one. Keep in mind, all the formulas that I used, your doctor's office does not have samples of, and you can't get a store brand. So if you're looking for something a little bit cheaper, you're gonna wanna go with something that you can get a store brand. But this starts with lactose, organic non-fat milk. It does have palm oil, and it has partially hydrolyzed protein, which means it's already broken down. And it does not have corn syrup, which is what I liked about it. And it's easy to digest proteins. So the proteins are already broken down for the baby to help them digest it, which makes it a little bit easier. And our twins did great on that. This is the one that we tried like 1 bottle of, and it's kind of a shame because I don't know anyone that uses it, and it was $30. So it'll probably have to go in the trash, which kind of stinks because it's already open. But this is the same brand, but it's sensitive and it's reduced lactose. So if you think you have an issue with lactose, what I didn't like about this is that it does have glucose syrup solids is the first ingredient, which I'm not a huge fan of. And it just has a lot of stuff that you don't necessarily need in formula. And then we ended up switching in the interim to this Similac Alimentum, and we got the pre-made stuff. And what I didn't like about this is if you look in the ingredients, it's water, sugar is the second ingredient. I don't think that's really necessary to give your infant have sugar, but if your baby is having issues, this literally stopped her issues in a hot second, and I would do it again. And if she couldn't tolerate the European formula, or if it was too expensive for our budget, I would certainly keep her on this. But this is super expensive too, guys. This is like $10 or $11 if you get the pre-made stuff, and she goes through it in like a day and a half. So it ends up being the same as spending the money to get the European stuff. So what I didn't like about this pre-made stuff is it's very hard to take with you. So it's still only good for, once you prepare it, it was only good for an hour or 2. So you can't like pour it in a bottle and take it with you out and about like you can the powder. The powder you can store separately. You can't take this out and about with you. And once you open the bottle, it has to go in the fridge and be used within 48 hours. So the one time I took her to a doctor's appointment, I was like, what do I bring with me? So I just had to make it really quick because I had to come right home after, because you can't pour a bottle and like be gone for the day like you can with powder. So my plan was, if she didn't tolerate the European formula, was going to be to try to switch to the powder Alimentum. That was my goal. We only got the pre-made because we didn't need a whole container of it, and this ended up being cheaper. So that I'll probably donate to somebody. So let me show you what she ended up going on. So after research, we ended up putting her on this. It is Holly goat's milk formula, and it is from Germany. The whole box is in German, so that's not gonna help you, but they do send you English instructions. So it literally only has in it the organic goat's milk. It has maltodextrin and something else, and the website tells you why they use those ingredients. So it's basically 3 ingredients and then all the vitamins and minerals, because Europe, their standards are so much higher than our standards, and they would never allow a lot of the stuff that's in even organic formula here in their formula. So it is better for you. And I was reading that goat's milk is a good hypoallergenic formula. So Similac says right on it, hypoallergenic, and it's basically a comparison, and it's hypoallergenic. So that's why I got the goat's milk. It comes in a box like this. So I ended up buying a container to store it in that's airtight, and we ended up buying it in bulk. So if you buy it in bulk, we rushed 2 boxes to start to try it. When she did fine on it, if you buy it in bulk, it becomes cheaper. And when I calculated out like ounce per ounce or whatever, it ends up being the same as Alimentum. So personal preference, we went with this. The only thing you have to keep an eye on is it's in milliliters, not ounces. So like the other stuff was 2 ounces to 1 scoop. This scoop is a lot smaller. It's 100 milliliters to 3 scoops. So it's about 33 milliliters a scoop. So it's over, a little bit over an ounce to a scoop. So you just have to keep an eye, so I use one of these from Medela, the pump, because it has the little tick marks and you can get very precise. But it actually says on the box, approximate, because everyone's scoops will be different and all that. So it's a little bit different. They do send you the instructions in English. I really like it. It doesn't have the same smell as our formula. It just smells very clean. Goat's milk is very close to breast milk, and it has just worked really well. So the plan is for the next baby, if we have another baby where we would like to, is I probably will just order this in advance and just have it here and use it. So that is our formula journey. Like I said, there's places online that are very reputable that you can get this from. And the baby was crying. She's tired. She's ready for a nap. Right, honey? So she's done very well in the goat's milk. She's still spitty, just like a normal baby is spitty, but she doesn't have the pain. She burps super easily. You basically lift her up to put her on your shoulder and she burps. You don't really even have to do much. She takes it really well. We've had no skin problems, no issues, and I'm super happy with the lack of ingredients, and I just feel really good about it. So again, certainly not to shame anyone. We totally were going to use Alimentum if we couldn't get the goat's milk formula or it didn't work for us. So no shame, but I do urge you, if you have it in your budget or your child is having trouble with their formula, to look into European formula. There's also a Dutch brand, Hip. It comes, and then this Holly, and it comes in goat and cow. And the Holly has a stage 1 and 2. So once they turn 6 months, if they're not satisfied with this, stage 2 has more protein in it to keep them fuller longer. But you can also totally stay on the stage 1. So we'll see what happens when she turns 6 months, because she'll also be doing baby led weaning at that point and eating, having less bottles. So yeah, so I feel a little bit of mom guilt that she spent a week or 2 being miserable and me just thinking that she was being a colicky infant. I wish we would have thought that it was the formula earlier. In my head, I was kind of like, well, my twins did great on it, so it can't be the formula, but every baby is totally different. And again, I don't know if it was a milk protein allergy or sensitivity, but it was certainly sensitivity to something in the formula she was eating. And she's doing great, huh? She's doing great now. So let me know if any of you guys use the European formula and what you think of it. And I hope you guys are having a great day. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next video. Huh, sissy? Sissy?